Get your Choco chocolate milk today.
It's good. It comes with vitamins and protein, and don't forget the calcium. Get your Choco chocolate milk today.
Call 999.
Drink your Choco chocolate milk today. It will make you strong. We're not lying, we're not wrong. Choco chocolate milk.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Orthridge Jersey's virtual chat. I am Brittany with Discover Dairy, and we are going to have so much fun today. We've got Farmer Derek on standby. We can see many of you already checking in and already asking great questions. And we have two of the cutest calves who are twins, Jam and Jelly, ready for the close-ups today. This event is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 48,000 classes and 2.1 million students all joined the fun for free this year, thanks to our generous supporters like the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. And I know many of you are already excited for next year. So go ahead and mark your calendars because this Friday, May 1st, is when open enrollment for next year begins. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt once registration opens up. Simply log in, click enroll, and you're set for next year. And we would love for you to invite some friends to come along for the fun. Because this event is live, we want to hear from you. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We want to hear from where you're joining us from. So go ahead and let us know what town, what school, all those sorts of good things. We would love to hear from you. And I know Farmer Derek is excited to hear your questions, so make sure to get those in there. Before we jump to Farmer Derek, let's see who's tuning in today. Let's start all the way back at the top. One of the first folks to join us is Rio. Third graders are excited to be here. Hey, third graders, thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you. Let's see, we have Miss Samuelson's and Miss Ramos's K4 class is here with us from Lincoln Academy. Hello and welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. Let's see, we have Miss Johnson and Miss Freud's class and Beloit. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. We have some fourth graders here who are excited to see Jelly. We are excited to see her too. Thank you so much, fourth graders, for joining us today. How about Mrs. Dobbins' first grade class at Cathedral Elementary School? Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've got some first graders at Powers Elementary. Hello, first graders. Thanks for tuning in. Let's try a couple more here. We have Mrs. Remiker's fourth graders here in Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have, let's see, Tower Rock Elementary. Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. We're excited to have you. How about we've got some second graders in Sauk City. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Let's do one or two more. We've got Mrs. Mueller's class here from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hello. We're excited to have you. And how about we've got some fourth graders from Darlington Elementary and Middle School in Darlington, Wisconsin. Hello all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are so excited to have you. I know Farmer Derek's excited to hear from you, and we'll get this show on the road. So let's see, Farmer Derek, how are you doing today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing great. How are you, Brittany?
Oh, we are doing really well over here. Thank you so much for tuning in and just letting us kind of step onto your farm here for a little bit. So tell us a little bit about who Farmer Derek is and who Orthridge Jerseys is.
All right. Hi, I'm Farmer Derek. I'm a fourth generation dairy farmer in Southwest Wisconsin. We moved here from Iowa in 1993, and we've been on the farm ever since. We've been through some changes and expansion, and farming with my parents. My wife Sharice is the local 4-H person, and we have 4 kids. So we're busy on the farm. We also have chickens and sheep and pigs, and we just got a puppy. You might have seen the puppy in some pictures last fall. So
Mm-hmm.
behind us we have Jam and Jelly and 4 of their
Oh.
friends. So there's 6 in this pen. And maybe you know, maybe you don't. Jerseys are very nosy heifers and nosy cows. So I'm sure they'll be trying to chew on me the whole time we're chatting.
Oh my goodness. So before we jump to those calves, you mentioned you have 4 kiddos. Do they have responsibilities on the farm? Is this a full family affair? What does it look like for the whole family to be involved?
They're definitely very involved. Every afternoon, the girls, the older girls, Ziva and Jaylee help with calves. They've been helping more with the sheep this year. The pigs are actually my second daughter's project. Like they are her show pigs, but then we
Oh,
also raise some for meat. So they're all
awesome.
out on the farm. The ones that, our youngest is 2, and she doesn't. She likes to help, but she does sometimes makes things more of a challenge. So, but
Sure,
it's
right?
fun to be on the farm with them.
That's awesome. She will find her place eventually, right? And she's certainly going to
Absolutely.
learn from her older siblings, and yeah, she'll jump right in soon enough. I love that.
Exactly.
Farmer Derek, help us understand what it looks like to be Farmer Derek for a day. So, what does maybe a typical day, if there is a typical day on a dairy farm, what does a typical day look on like on the farm for you?
I would say there's no typical day. Every day is different. There's different things that have to be done, but every day the cows have to be milked, the cows have to be fed.
Yeah.
And so I get up in the morning. If I have to milk, it's 1:30 in the morning. If I don't have to milk, it's 5:30. Um, and then start with feeding calves and feeding the baby lambs, and then it's getting everything else fed, and then making sure everything has fresh bedding, fresh hay if they need it. In the summertime, we do some rotational grazing, so some of that's moving fence and making sure they have enough grass for the day. One thing that is new that we didn't have a year ago, we started using virtual fencing, which is a collar
Ooh.
that the cattle wear, and it beeps if they're getting too close to the virtual boundary. It's kind of like invisible fence for dogs, but we
Huh.
put it on the cows and heifers, and that helps us. It helps us track them, but it also helps us get more grass out of the pastures because we're rotationally grazing instead of letting them eat all of the grass at one time. So that's
Wow.
one thing that's new on the farm. Um,
Yeah.
in the afternoon, sometimes I
Huh.
eat. I haven't eaten yet today, but I'll get there. Afternoon, there's more chores. About 10 months of the year, we have baby calves on the ground. So we're checking the
Wow.
cows that are calving, taking care of the newborns.
Hmm.
And then summertime, there's also field work. There's planting in the spring, taking care of
Hmm.
crops in the summer, harvesting, making hay, chopping corn silage in the fall. So there's always things to do, and no 2 days are the same.
Wow. My goodness. I don't know how you do it starting as early as you just said when you say you milk the cows and then still go for the day. I really hope a nap is included sometime in there because that's a long day otherwise.
Every once in a while. And it's
Wow.
always one of my goals, but it doesn't always happen.
Well, and we will make sure you go get to eat soon too. We'll just take 20 more minutes of your time and then we got to make sure we're taking care of Farmer Derek too and he's getting some yummy food in his belly. So Farmer Derek, thank you so much truly for just spending your time with us this year and letting us get to know you a little bit more. And of course, Jam and Jelly. So let's dive into them and see how they're doing. Let's remind us which one is which because they all kind of look alike.
All
And we'll
right.
we'll highlight one of them first.
All right. So this is Jelly. She's got a darker face. It's 2651 if you can see her number. I guess they are twins. They were both born in September. I think it was September 9th, if I remember right. Um,
Yeah.
it, it does, yeah, it's easier to keep track of when they're twins when in the adopted calf program. Surprisingly, she's a darker than her twin sister,
Hmm.
and you might be able to see that. Jerseys, like I mentioned, are all nosy, so all 6 of these in here will try to chew on you and see if we can get Jam to turn around. Come here, girl. I don't know if you remember 4 years ago we were in the same pen, and Diva took off on us. She cleared that fence behind us and then jumped over a second fence, and she was gone. But
She was.
so
Oh,
this is Jam here. You can see her backside, but she'll probably turn around if I stand here long enough. You can see she's a
she'll
little
get
lighter
curious.
colored, but their mix doing good, and
Oh,
Jam and
oh
Jelly
my
are
goodness.
growing, and
Yeah. So, yeah, speaking of growing, let's see, when they were both born, goodness, especially since they were twins. I mean, Jersey's already little, but then when they were twin Jerseys, they were 27 inches and 55 pounds. My goodness. I think they just looked like
tiny.
baby little deer, right? They were so cute.
Exactly.
And then at our 6-month update, I mean, they've grown so much. They were both at 290 pounds and 38 inches. So, how much do you think they've grown in the last 2 months?
I would say probably another 50 or 60 pounds, maybe more. They're probably both
Wow.
around 350 pounds now. I
Yeah.
do think, looking at them right now, I do think Jam's a tiny bit bigger. So
Hmm.
maybe she's 360 pounds and Jelly's 350, but they're
Okay.
both they're both pretty similar. Um, but
Yeah.
they have grown, and they're probably, I don't know. I didn't bring out a yardstick today, but I'm sure they're over 40 inches tall by now.
Goodness.
So almost 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
So
Wow. They have grown
they,
so much. That's probably their biggest growth spurt that they've had. But that makes sense, right? Because especially around this time, developmentally, they really start to put on a lot more
yep.
weight and their diet has changed. Do we want to talk a little bit about like how their diet has changed from the time they were born till what they're
Okay.
eating now?
Okay. So when they were born, they only got for about 2 weeks, and then we started introducing grain. The grain has like
Hmm.
corn and oats and protein, which might be a pellet or soybeans or something else that's high in
Hmm.
protein. And then when they're about 8 weeks old, we quit giving them bottles. We would slowly taper off. We'd give them a little less at each feeding, so they got used to not having the milk. And then about 8 weeks old, they went to all grain, and then
Hmm.
probably around 3 months, then we started adding some forage and some roughage. So they're still
Yeah.
getting that same pellet or the same grain mix. It's got some corn in it, and you can see some pellets right in there. I don't know if you can see how clear. But there's also, we added some corn silage and some hay, and
Yeah.
we grind it all up.
Hmm.
So that's what they get now. Which we work with a nutritionist, and it's a balanced diet to make sure they have enough protein and carbohydrates and fiber and
Hmm.
vitamins and minerals, and then they get fresh water twice a day, and we always try to make sure they have food in front of them,
Yeah.
and
That's
they're always
amazing.
hungry. And like you said, they start out growing, maybe a half a pound a day or a pound a day, and then by the time they're this age, they might be growing 2 pounds a day. And then when they're
Wow.
about 2 years old, then they're kind of at their max size, and then they don't grow much more after that.
Sure.
You might have heard that a dog year is 7 years, and I think cows are about 10 years. So if a
Wow.
20-year-old kind of stops growing, and a 2-year-old cow stops growing, it's about the same.
Sure.
We all start off as babies, and then we go through growth spurts, and then
Yeah.
go through our teenage years, and then we stop growing, and we're
Hmm.
full size.
Yeah. That's amazing. That makes sense, right? And of course, even even so, when they get to be that adult age, the energy is then being put into producing milk too. So,
Exactly.
they've got that ultimate purpose of all that energy going into their milk and into that milk production. Which is why I know sometimes we've been asked, why do these cows, look a little bit skinnier than maybe what we're used to seeing if you've ever seen beef cows on, in the pasture, and that's the same reason, right? They're
Yep,
just putting
that's
all their energy
absolutely
into
right.
milk. Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Awesome. Very cool. Oh, I'm so glad to see that they're growing so big and strong and certainly loving their time here with their herd mates. So the farmer Derek, we have some good questions coming in here if you're ready to answer some of those questions.
Let her rip. I'm ready.
All right. So I actually don't know this answer, so I'm curious too. Is Jam or Jelly the older twin? Which one was born first? Do you know?
I think I kept them straight from birth because when I got in the barn, only one of them was born. I'm pretty sure it was Jam. and then actually moved Jam and her mother outside and because she had calved on basically a concrete floor, and I was like,
Sure.
that's not very soft. Let's go outside in the grass, and
Yeah.
then the second one was born. So
Ah,
um,
a little bit of a surprise birth.
yes, we were not expecting twins, and it was a bit of a surprise. But thankfully, I had been there.
Right.
Sometimes cows calve in pasture, and you don't find the calf, for 6 or 10 hours. But I was there. I was there for the birth, got some pictures, and then oh my gosh, there's a second one. So,
Oh my gosh. That's fun. Very cool. Let's see. Oh, this one's cute. This one's from Leona, and they were curious, do cows like to lick people?
yes, especially jerseys. If you let them, they'll like actually try to eat your clothes. Um, but and I don't know if it's just like a texture thing, or if if you sweat a little bit and you have some salt on your skin, they uh
Oh,
they definitely like to lick people.
yeah. Good to know.
Uh, Apparently, my dog stole some stuff out of the camera crew's car.
Uh-oh. You know, animals certainly keep our lives very exciting, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, a good question here. We're curious, do Jam and Jelly, are they producing milk yet? And if not, when will they start producing milk?
Like they are not yet. They start about 2 years old.
Okay.
They'll have their first calf, and they can't give any milk until they have their first calf, and then their body knows like I have
Gotcha.
to produce or I have to produce milk from my calf. And dairy cows are super sweet because they make enough for their calf, and then they make extras to share with all of us. So
Mm-mm-mm. Thank you for that, cows.
exactly. It's about 2 years old when they have their first calf and start producing milk.
Yeah. Wow. Incredible. Very cool. Let's see. Can you remind us just how many cows are actually on the farm? Maybe how many milking cows, and then how many cows total?
Right? Milking cows, there's about 250, and then total is about 400 if you include everybody from the one that was born yesterday through the
Mhm.
one that's 10 years old. There's about 400
Wow.
cows, heifers, calves, all ages on the farm.
Wow. So 10 years old, that leads right into the next question that I just found here. They were curious, how long can a cow live for? So it sounds like 10 years old is the oldest cow that you have on your farm, right?
Currently, yes. The oldest cow we ever had, she was 16 and a half when she passed away. Her name was Ariel, named after the Little Mermaid. Uh,
Aw.
she was really old. Then
Oh my
that's pretty
goodness.
rare for a cow to live that long.
Sure. Yeah, she's defying the odds for
Yes.
sure. But I think that just shows really great. It just shows what it means to be a good farmer, right? I mean, you're going to have those oddballs, but you won't have those oddballs if they don't have great care and a great place to live and a great farmer taking care of them. So nice job to you. I think
And
that's
thank you.
commendance to you.
And
Let's
Ariel's
see.
probably been gone for 20 years, and yeah, I still remember her, and I'm still
Wow.
telling you about her. So
Right.
those outliers are the ones you remember.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, very cool. A really great question here from Huntley in Partyville. They were curious, how do you know if a cow is sick? Because, we can just go to mom and say, we're not feeling so great, but I don't think your Jersey's can. So how do you know if a cow is sick?
That's true. I've heard veterinarians say that they think they should quit vet school and go be a doctor because a human can tell a doctor when they're sick. Um, I would say the biggest way is to tell is just if their eyes are sunken in.
Hmm.
If their eyes are, their eyes kind of stick out a little bit from their face, but when they're sick,
Hmm.
their eyes sunk in. Sometimes
Hmm.
they get runny noses just like we do. Sometimes they have diarrhea. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of things to look for, but I would say the
Sure.
easiest way to tell, like just glancing at a cow, if they don't feel good, their eyes
Hmm.
sink in a little bit, probably because they're dehydrated,
Hmm.
and sometimes they just look sad. So I would say
Hmm.
you can see it in their eyes.
Yeah. I mean, and that takes really incredible dedication to your cows and knowing what's normal for them and what's not, and just keeping an eye on them all the time, right? I mean, that's what you and your team do. Yeah, awesome.
It is.
A question about their color. We're just curious, do you have cows that are different colors besides brown, or all of them brown?
Probably half of them are brown, and then some. We've been doing some crossbreeding, which we most like these. The ones in front of us are all jerseys, but then the
Okay.
crossbreds they might be Holstein crosses or Air crosses.
Oh,
Some of them have like some red and white colors. And some of them are black and white. Some of them are like a solid black chocolate color. So we have
wow.
been doing a little more color into the herd, but I
Hmm.
would still say over half of ours are the jerseys that are browns. But the jerseys,
Yeah.
they even a purebred jersey, they can be different shades. Like I mentioned, Jam and Jelly. Jelly's a little darker than Jam. There are jerseys that are a light tan color. Some have white.
Hmm.
Some are very dark. And even if you went to the Isle of Jersey, where they have the purest of the pure Jersey genetics, you still get that color variation, and they
Huh.
haven't had any new blood introduced into the Isle of Jersey for over 200 years.
Wow. That's incredible. I think my favorites are when they have the white spots, like really prominent white spots. I think those are just
Yep,
really because you just don't see them very often. Those are fun.
that's very true. That's very true.
Let's see. We are seeing a lot of questions curious about their food. I know we talked about what they're eating currently, but
Okay.
do they get treats or is there something that they like the best? They're asking what's their favorite food, that kind of thing.
Uh, I think their favorite food is the pellet mixture with the corn and oats in it.
Hmm.
Once we get some taller grass and the pastures are ready, they absolutely love the first day on pasture. And they'll
Oh,
run around and buck their heels and their tails be straight up in the air and they'll be running in circles. So I do think fresh grass is probably, when they can get it, that's probably it's kind of like when fruits in season, when we get fresh strawberries in the spring or fresh apples in the fall, like the fresh grass is what
oh,
they really like.
yeah.
But when it's springtime or wintertime, I do think they really like that grain mix we give them, and it's got a
Yeah.
little bit of molasses in it, which if you
Ooh.
don't know what molasses is, it's like a byproduct of sugar, and it's
Okay.
kind of caramely, and so they think that's a sweet treat.
Oh, yum. Now you're making me really hungry for that fresh fruit. That just like that fresh peach coming right off a peach tree. I can understand why they like that fresh first bit of grass if we're comparing it like
Exactly.
that. That's awesome. Let's see. We're curious, do other cows have names on your farm, or are Jam and Jelly just a little bit special because they're in the program?
So actually, one of the tour that came for a tour this morning, they asked a similar question. We named every calf. Every calf on the farm had a name until about 2015, and then we kind of got busy, and now just the special ones have names. So Jam and Jelly have names. There's probably like 30 on the farm that have names now.
Wow.
Everybody gets the ear tag with the numbers. I think I think once my kids get a little more involved in the farm, we probably will have to go back to naming because my kids
Sure.
want to name everything.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I can totally understand. There's something just special about knowing you get to name something. So,
Right.
yeah, we'll probably be seeing that coming back sometime soon. But
Probably.
right, they still have a very unique position on your farm, and they also have a very unique number that's special to them on their tag, like you mentioned. So, it
Right.
doesn't mean that they don't matter. It just means that's a lot of names to come up with.
Yes,
We just
it
have
is.
a cow name, which is a number instead of a human name that we're giving them. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Let's see. We had some questions coming in. A bunch of people curious about how much milk can a cow produce in one day? Hmm.
Okay. So jerseys are known for their butter, fat, and protein.
Hmm.
Um, which means they give almost like a thicker milk, which makes it easier to make butter and cheese with. And so
Oh,
jerseys, I would say 60 to 70 pounds, which if you compare that to gallons, it's probably 7 gallons. Holsteins, they give more milk, but it's not as that thick or rich. a little bit lower butter, fat, and protein. And Holsteins can give 90 pounds to 100. So that'd
Wow.
be 10, 11, 12 gallons of milk every single day.
Wow. Oh
Like,
my gosh.
yeah, it's a lot of milk,
It
which
is a
makes a lot
lot
of
of milk.
cheese. Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned, right, you just said that. So it makes a lot of milk, but how does that actually happen then, right? So you're producing this milk, it's being stored in the bulk tank on your farm.
That's right.
It just magically turns into cheese, or like how does that transition happen to then get to us in the grocery store?
Okay. Uh, I would say every day or every other day, our milk gets picked up by a milk truck.
Mhm.
You might see them on the road sometimes. Sometimes they're like a straight truck. Sometimes they're a semi. Uh, and then they get hauled to a factory or a butter factory, yogurt factory, sometimes
Mhm.
a bottle plant. And then, cheese is made into big blocks of cheese, and then it's cut down into the 8 ounce or 1 pound packages that we typically see, or made into slices to put on a cheeseburger or whatever. And then they get distributed. I don't even know anymore. There's hundreds of cheese factories and processing plants in Wisconsin. But actually, 90% of the milk that's made into cheese in Wisconsin is exported. So
Wow.
there's, and it goes all over the world even. I lived in Utah for 9 months, and I was buying Wisconsin cheese in Utah because that's where it's shipped to. But then,
Oh, wow.
ends up at your
That's
grocery
cool.
store, and then your family buys it and brings it home, and you eat it at
Yeah.
the grocery store or at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I'm sure
huge,
restaurants and yeah.
a huge supply chain that keeps us all well fed.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know it's sometimes I think a lot more people, right, are more familiar with how it happens on the farm, and then it's just kind of like, right, we wiggle our nose and it shows up kind of thing. But there's a lot of moving pieces to get it from point A to point B, and a lot of other amazing workers that make that happen. So thanks for talking that through. I appreciate it. We have someone that was curious. How long have you been farming for? I know you talked about like when the farm started a while ago, but how long have you been farming for?
Probably since 1986. Uh, when I was a baby, my parents would carry me to the barn, and we had a pack and play right in the barn that
Oh,
I played in, and but I guess full time I've been here since May of 2005.
okay.
Um, I went to college in Utah and then returned home, and I've been working on the farm ever since.
Yeah.
It'll be 21 years next week. Will be my work
Oh
anniversary.
man. Oh, that's exciting. A work anniversary, and we're celebrating a birthday today too, sir. I believe it's Farmer Derek's birthday today. So that's exciting. We always love that you choose to celebrate your birthday with us on your live
I
chat
love
day.
having
I think that's great. So we'd love to
you.
get a little happy birthday celebration going in that chat. So if anyone wants to send him some messages, he would love to see those. Let's see. We're curious about their personalities. Anything you can tell us about Jim and Jelly? Do you notice, is one nosy or one a little bit more standoffish or anything like that?
Uh, every time I try to take pictures of Jelly, she puts her head down like she's shy, and she's
Oh,
very annoying because it's like, I just want you to look at the camera. So if your parents ever want you to take pictures, just smile for them because it's very frustrating when you put your head down or do silly things. I
oh,
would say that's what Jelly I've noticed. They're very curious. I don't know
yeah.
specifically if either of them are more curious than the others, and if I was in there, they'd be right up in my
In your
trying to
business.
get
Uh-huh.
trying to rip my clothes off and
Yep.
chew on me and I mentioned before Jerseys are more curious than other breeds, and you can see Jelly just
Oh,
came back. And she must have known we were talking about her,
right. She
but
goes, you said I put my head down, but here I am being all cute. So, oh my goodness.
she knows we were
Um,
talking about her.
right? Look at her. Cute. We had a question. So just one more time, going back to the feed, we are very curious about their feed. How often are they fed? Is it a once a day thing? Is it breakfast, lunch, dinner? What's that look like?
Uh, Jam and jelly right now are fed once a day.
Gotcha.
We put the it's called TMR, or total mixed ration, which is kind of
Hmm.
like a giant salad. We mix the corn silage and the hay together and mix it all up, and then we sprinkle the corn mix on top of it. So we do that once a day, and it gives them enough feed for. Our goal is always 23 hours. We give them enough feed for 23 hours, and then the bunk is empty for about an hour, and then we give them fresh feed again. And it's not like they stand there and eat for 23 hours. So
Sure.
they'll eat as soon as we put it out, and then they'll go lay down and come back a couple hours later. When they were born, we were giving the bottles twice a day, but then as they get older, then we moved to the once a day feeding, and basically they have once a day feeding and for the rest of their lives.
For as long as,
Um,
right, yeah.
but like even in the milking barn, we do the 23-hour thing there too.
Yeah.
We only mix the feed once a day, but then they have access to feed for about 23 hours, and then every morning the goal is always when they come out of the parlor, there's fresh feed for them, so they get milked, fresh feed, and then that feed's there for 23 hours, and then tomorrow we'll do it again.
Wow. I would love a smorgasbord of food in front of me 23 hours out of the day, Farmer Derek. That sounds pretty darn great.
Sound good.
Oh man. So you mentioned that they, right, especially our grown cows, they go in to get milked and they come out and eat. We're curious about their sleeping schedule. Do they have a nap time? Do they sleep at night, or, what's sleep look like for a cow?
uh, a lot of both. And sometimes it's just laying down, and it's not always sleeping.
Sure.
But you will see them. They'll come out of the parlor after getting milked, and they'll eat a bunch, they'll drink a bunch, and then they typically go lay down. And sometimes it's just laying there chewing. If you don't know what cud chewing is,
Mm.
cows will eat a whole bunch, and then they'll fill their stomach, their rumen, and then when they go lay down, it's called cud chewing. So a little bit of food comes back into their mouth, and they chew it some more, and it goes back into their stomach, and then it comes back up, and they chew it some more, and they'll do that laying in the stall for a couple hours or laying out on pasture. Um, if you ever see a giraffe, it's really cool to watch a giraffe chew their cud, because you can
Oh,
see the food going back and forth up their long necks. And
oh, that's
if you
cool. I
watch
never even thought of that.
if you watch cows, you can see this like little baseball size amount of food that comes from their stomach up into their
Hmm.
in their mouth, and all ruminants do that. A ruminant is an animal with four stomachs.
Sure.
Um, and giraffes, cows, sheep, deer.
Hmm.
Uh, so any ruminants do that. So some of the sleeping is actually just laying around and chewing.
Aha.
They spend a lot of time chewing.
Just, well, man, food all the time, just chewing their cud all the time, resting all the time. Oh my goodness, definitely sounds like the life to live, and you're providing them a really great place to do that for sure.
Thank you.
Farmer Derek, I know you can't see it, but I'm just letting you know that there are many people that are saying happy birthday. So you'll have to go
Thank you
and
all.
check out all those birthday wishes then,
I will do
once we're
that.
all done here. So, gosh, we are already at a half hour. We're going to start wrapping up here. I really just thank you for the time you've given today. And I wanted to just wrap up with one more question on, what's your why behind what you do every day? You mentioned sometimes your day starts at 1:30 in the morning, and days like today where you haven't even had food yet. And so just, it sounds like it can be tricky sometimes, but I know there's got to be a rewarding piece to keep you going every day. So what's your why behind all this?
I would say my why is doing something that other people might not want to choose to do. It is very rewarding knowing like that I'm providing food for it could be anybody in the world, because if 90% of the milk is exported as cheese or other dairy products, I could be impacting people all over the world and providing food for them. So I think that's my why, and that's my purpose. So
Yeah.
I like to keep doing that.
How cool is that, right? I mean, there are so few people that can say that they're feeding the world. Really, less than 1% of the world
That's
feeds
right.
the rest of the 99. So, thank you for your dedication to the dairy industry and really providing just that healthy, nutritious product for us to enjoy. I know in Wisconsin and for your cows, that's mostly those extra products like cheese and yogurt and ice cream and things like that. But those are delicious products. I would not do well without cheese. Actually, cheese will probably be my snack after this chat. So,
Me too.
uh,
I'm looking forward to some cheese
yeah,
curds.
that sounds amazing. Farmer Derek, anything else that you wanted to share with us today before we tune off?
I guess follow our farm on Facebook,
Oh, yeah.
Orthridge Farms. I'm going to try to do a better job of, you know, keeping these girls in the loop. And if you ever see I haven't posted pictures of Jam and Jelly lately, just send us a message and ask for an updated picture. I'll try to keep doing better at that. People that have followed us for
Awesome.
years or been a part of the program for years always are asking how's Disco Diva doing, or how's Diva doing, or Jordy or Rebel or Lonnie or
Oh,
Ronnie or Laramie. So we try to.
uh-huh.
Most of them are still here. We try to keep everybody informed
Yeah.
about what they're doing throughout their lives, because it's been a pretty cool
Yeah, I
program
love
to be
that. And
part of.
you've been doing this for a long time.
I think
So the
this
fact
is my
that
fifth.
most of those yeah, most of them are still here. That's really cool and certainly a testimony to the care you provide. So thank you so much, Farmer Derek, for everything that you've done. And just really just providing an amazing experience today is just wow, been a fun visit with you. So huge thank you to you. And really just opening up your barn doors and letting us kind of check out Jam and Jelly and their natural world here, just hanging out in their pen. And I know they'll be off out grazing soon here, so that's exciting. And truly, I do want to say thank you to the classes, the teachers, the students. I know we've got some libraries and cafeterias and assisted living centers, and I mean, just so many different people, homeschool groups that are part of this program. Thank you all for choosing agriculture in the classroom and being part of this. We really, really appreciate your commitment to this. And just we hope you had fun learning about what it is to be like life on the farm and raise two cute calves like Jam and Jelly. If you love this experience, please feel free to mark those calendars for this Friday. Registration and re-enrollment starts May 1st. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt. Simply log into your account and re-enroll, and you'll get started there. And bring a friend along. We'd love to welcome new people into the program and be able to reach 3 million students this year. How amazing would that be? Just sharing the good news of the dairy industry. So, from all of us at Discover Dairy and Orthridge Jerseys, thank you so much for sharing your afternoon with us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.